Well, I've been inspired by some other videos I've seen online where people have been either challenged to share their Jeep story or just wanted to share their Jeep story just because. And so I have decided to make a video to share the story of how I became a Jeeper. And so basically what happened was, it was 2014. We were in Colorado and visiting some friends, and whilst out there we were doing some sightseeing. I went down to Colorado Springs to see the Garden of the Gods National Monument. Well, we were driving a little rented Nissan Versa at the time, and just happened to stop for lunch, or actually we were on our way to lunch, and we spotted a Chrysler Jeep dealership, and had remembered that we'd seen a blue Jeep online and we thought it was the same dealership. So we pulled into the dealership, and sure enough, we could see the Jeep. It was actually out there in the parking lot. And so we said, well, let's just take a look. And so long story short, after a long extended test drive, the dealer actually, the sales guy, actually let us take the Jeep to go see Garden of Gods National Park. You know, just the two of us, kind of a long extended test drive. We even took it out to lunch and ran into another Jeeper while we were there at the restaurant and kind of grilled him about his rig. And so long story short, 3 hours later, we were filling out sales paperwork and had this thing on a flatbed out here to California from Colorado. So that is how we got the Jeep. Now, originally, it was supposed to be my wife's new car. We both had, you know, our cars were both paid off, and mine was coming up on 200,000 miles, and it was time to maybe look for something else. So I was going to take over my wife's car, which had a very nice Nissan Maxima, and I was going to take that over, and we were going to get her the BMW that she had been dreaming of. And you know, long story short, the BMW did not work out at the time, but when we drove the Jeep, we thought, hey, it's blue, it's cute, it fits you, so, you know, hey, now you're a Jeep girl. Well, after getting the Jeep here in California and her driving it around for a week or two, she discovered that she is not a Jeep girl, and so I graciously offered to take over the blue Jeep as my own. And what we decided to do so that she could still get her BMW was we put the other car up for sale. So we sold the Maxima. A month later, we bought my wife the BMW, and so all is good with the world. So that's the story of how I became a Jeep guy. I never knew that I was going to become a Jeep guy until you know, the bug bit me here. So it was about maybe 10 months after we bought the Jeep. I think it was January of 2015. We bought the Jeep in March of 2014. And I had been surfing around some of the forums, the Jeep forums online, and doing a little research on, you know, what kind of stuff people do to these things. And so I had seen that there was an open run for beginners out to Cleghorn Ridge. And so I said to my wife, hey, let's take the Jeep out to Cleghorn Ridge. It's a beginner's run, and it should be fun, and we can, you know, kind of see what our Jeep does off-road. And that was it. You know, that trip to Cleghorn was everything that I needed to make me a total converted Jeep guy. And yeah, the bug had bitten me, and it was over with at that point. So the mod list started to grow very, very quickly. So first thing we did was bumper, then winch, and then I trimmed the fenders up, and then I bought a lift kit and got ready to lift it. And then shortly after I lifted it, I put the 35-inch tires on. And then long story short, there's just been a lot of stuff, lots of DIY, you know, a lot of homemade fabrication on stuff that I could fab myself, brackets and whatnot. Anything that any way that I could save money on non-essential things. You know, obviously the stuff that is essential, you definitely want to spend money on. But you know, anything that I could kind of get away with and not break the bank, that's what I did. So the spreadsheet started. We started keeping tally and tabs of everything that I put into the Jeep so far. Yeah, it's fun. So that's really the story of how it all happened. And at that point, I really just kind of embraced it head on. Decided I wanted to start leading trail runs and have you know, been out with this thing on most of the trails here in Southern California at this point. So yeah, next up obviously is going to be the big guns, 37s. Swap out the front axle for a heavy duty 44. We're going to do the chromoly axle shafts around, get the front locker put in, re-gear it again because I put 456s in there. I'm going to re-gear it up to 488 to get ready for 37s. Yeah, a couple of other things, maybe some steering assist, possibly a new lift. We're at 2.5 inches now. I may go 3.5 on a metal cloak, but we'll just kind of see how things go from there. So anyway, that's the story, and she's definitely not done. But as you know, if you own a Jeep, they're never done. So if you'd like to share your story, I'd love to hear it. All right, thanks guys. Have a wonderful week.